everybody for coming. I'd like to ask you to please rise, say the pledge of allegiance with me. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd ask you to please stay standing, and let's have a moment of silence for our dear friend and teacher, Mr. Gander, that passed away this week. Thank you. And Mr. Chris Nichols have a few words of thanks.
So I don't know if many people know of Bill Ganley, but amazing guy. 25 years of serving our city with publicly. He was on the city council since 1993. He's our mayor from 97 to 2001. And from 1981 to 2015, he was a teacher in our school district. He finished his teaching career at Summit View, and he changed a lot of people's lives, including myself. He was a mentor to many, including myself, but he taught us how to separate the politics from everything and focus on what's right. And it truly, that's what I think our country needs to do. And he taught me personally, how we should look at ourselves and look what the community needs and not just what our personal beliefs are. He is also a track coach for Battleground School District, but he was a lot to many, and he would be very well missed. And I'm sure a lot of you share the same sentiments.
I like this.
Yes, it's on.
I like this, just a personal note. I know he touched many students' lives. And I'd like to just give one example. My granddaughter. My granddaughter was on a bad path. She was never going to graduate from high school. I think if it hadn't been for Bill Ganley, she would have been dead on the streets. She did graduate. And she moved in with me for a couple of years, and her condition of living with me, she had to finish that diploma. By the time she was 21, Bill wasn't there anymore, but she said, you know, if it hadn't been for Mr. Ganley, I never would have got this done. Bill Ganley saved my granddaughter's life.
Thank you. Ms. Backus, will you take the roll first?
Yes, Mr. President. President and Director of District 1, Monty Anderson.
Here.
Vice President and Director of District 2, Ken Ruth.
Present.
Director of District 3, Jim Peguero.
Present.
Director of District 4, Mavis Nichols.
Present.
And Director of District 5, Stephanie McClintock.
Present.
We have a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you, Ms. Backus. The next item on the agenda is our agenda approval. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll move to approve the agenda.
There's a motion on the floor to approve the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion, any opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
I'd like to add just a quick question about an item on there. And it's, what's going on in Pleasant Valley? Sidewalks, the contract for that?
That's under the
Contract.
agenda
Yeah.
contracts. That's extending the sidewalk there where the buses pull in because we have additional buses there. So it's just separating the buses from the rest.
Thank you.
So the first item on the agenda, we have our ASB reports. Is Battleground here? Oh, there you are. Come on up. How are we doing tonight?
Pretty good, not you.
Doing good. What's happening at Battleground?
So quite a lot has happened since the last school board meeting. The committee I have been on for the past month or so has been the food drive committee. So we have been organizing that, trying to get the word out as much as possible, obviously. We used some new techniques this time, such as like sending out a connect ed call to the parents so that they knew about the food drive going on and they could pass it on to their kids and stuff like that. So the other thing we did was we hung up a lot of posters and we put it on the announcements like every day to try to get the word out. We didn't raise as much food as we usually do, probably because our food drive was shorter this time. But we are going to hopefully pair with Prairie to do food donation at one of the basketball games that we have. So we're going to have like 5 minutes where everybody can just come up and donate food from the audience. So hopefully that will get us some more food to donate to. We're starting Mr. Battleground, the committee rolling. So we're looking for a charity currently, or a family in need, or a seriously ill child that we can both donate to. So if anybody has any ideas, we would love to hear about them. So that's mostly where we are with that right now. We are currently picking the boys that are going to be on Mr. Battleground. We have narrowed down almost completely right now, so it's going to be between the last couple. Let's see. We are also currently planning for our winter dance. We have tried to do winter formal in the past, but it just hasn't really worked out. We only sold about 30 tickets last year. We don't really know why nobody wants to come. We think it would be fun, but it hasn't done well so far. So we're moving it to like an after game dance. So everybody wears white and just comes after the football game, the one where we have the food drive type of thing. So hopefully that will be fun for people and more people will come. You know, it'll just be better overall. Something for people to look forward to before we go on the trip. I think that's about all the activities we have for our school. I'll have your offer in mind to bring students, and I'm trying to find some people that would like to come. So stay tuned for that. Any questions or comments or anything?
Well, we just had our high school improvement work study, and we heard something about a turkey fest type.
Turkey dinner.
Yeah, Thanksgiving type where the kids have gotten together and played games and did all bunch of stuff.
Seniors.
Yeah, seniors.
Yeah, I haven't heard of anything like that. It's probably more of like the senior people that started that, but because they do stuff.
Yeah,
So,
if I remember it from the school improvement plan, they wanted to start with seniors and then roll it down to the other grade levels to
sounds like a cool idea.
yeah. It did sound pretty good,
Yeah.
and that came from the kids. So, any other questions? Cool, thank you.
Thank you.
So, I only see Prairie here next. Is there any, some of you or? Yeah? Nope? Okay. Maybe you're up. You're welcome. How you doing? Good.
So we had our Veterans Day Assembly. Some highlights from that were probably the really powerful ROTC flag holding presentation. A lot of people told me that their eyes were not dry. And we raised money for our Battle Buddies, which is a local nonprofit for service dogs for veterans who are combating PTSD. And we honored some veterans and family members who served, with our Prairie Preschool being in the assembly and actually like giving our veterans some cards that they made. Some sport reports. Our volleyball team took 7th in state this year, so that was really exciting. And the soccer team made it to the state playoffs. We also started a Falcon Nest, which is just to promote school spirit and amp up our student section, get more student involvement with that. And
So we have winter formal coming up this Saturday, and it's from 7:30 to 10:30, and tickets are 10 with ASB and 12 without. And the funds that we raise from this dance goes towards our winter wishes, and that's us. It's our way of giving back to the school by granting wishes that are under $5. And it's the busiest event that we have all year. We have to have a group of people sifting through the ballots, and we have to have people buy them and then deliver them, and it's worth it. It's definitely worth it. But it's really busy, and we have a spirit week that leads up to the Winter Wishes Assembly, and that's our send-off to the to winter break. And also we grant some of the wishes there that are big, like the choir serenading to someone. That could be someone's wish. And we also have a library book fair on December 10th, and it's from 1:30 to 5:30 at Barnes & Noble at Vancouver Plaza. And the funds, I think, do you know how many books? There's a percentage, and that goes back to our book, or to our library for more free books. So that's really neat.
What was the date on that?
December 10th.
so up next, we have a member from our speech and debate team who is going to be performing a dramatic interpretation. So Hannah Weinberg.
Where would you like me to stand?
Wherever you like. Right there.
Audience ready? I can't walk. I can't feed myself or take myself to the bathroom. Big bummer. My arms and hands are pretty stiff, but I can mash the buttons on the TV remote, and I can move my wheelchair with the help of knobs on the wheels. I can't hold a spoon or a pencil without dropping, and my balance is like a zip. Humpty Dumpty has more control than I do. When people look at me, they see a girl whose head wobbles a little. Sometimes she drools. Sometimes people never even ask my name, like it's not important or something. It is. My name's Melody.
Many people have conformed to the social idea that the word disabled holds a negative connotation, and this negative energy in turn puts a strain on the lives of those affected by their conditions. Out of My Mind by Sharon M. Draper presents the reality that those with disabilities are much more capable than people first believe, and encourages that the world start thinking of others not as disabled, but differently abled.
I've been at Spalding Street Elementary School for 5 years. It's very ordinary, filled with kids. Kids who, for the most part, ignore kids like me. And I'm in a special program with other kids with what they call disabilities. And I like all the kids in room H5, and I understand their situations better than anybody. But I wanted something different, which was why I got so excited when Mr. Dimmings announced that the official tryouts for the Whiz Kids quiz team would be next week. But when I went into his room, some kids in my history class were already there. Some pointed at me and whispered. And when Mr. Dimmings came in and he saw me, he was all like,
Well, I don't think it's appropriate for Melody to be here. This isn't an activity just for fun. And all I could say was, I'm here to take the test. I'm very smart and tough. And I got every single question right. All of them. So now I stay after school every day to practice with the team. And you know, I still can't get over the fact that I'm actually part of a team. Okay, truth, there's the team and then there's me. And we're in the same room, but we're not quite a team. But, you know, I'm sure they appreciate the fact that I get every single question right. Like at the regional finals, so now we get to go to Washington, D.C. for the national competition. Maybe kids will talk to me more. So the morning of the trip, we go and check in for the noon flight. But then the lady says cancel. And I'm like, cancel? But the competition starts at 7. What about the rest of our group? We're traveling together. We're a quiz team. They all went out to breakfast that morning. So they got to the airport early and got switched to the 9 o'clock flight without me. And when I get home, I just keep thinking to myself, why didn't they call me? Why didn't they tell me about breakfast? Why can't I be like everybody else? But I have to go back to school and face the team. But when I go in, I see that trophy on Mr. Dimming's desk, and I just have to break the silence. Why did you leave me? Nobody thought about me. You left me on purpose. How could you do that to me? You think my brain is messed up like the rest of me? But what your body looks like has nothing to do with how well your brain works. You should know that by looking in the mirror. What's normal, huh? But I'm not gonna let their negativity bring me down. Because I have about 1 million different other things to worry about than team. Making people understand what I want. Worrying about what I look like. Fitting in. And, you know, the question I get asked most is, what's wrong with you? You know, to those who are genuinely concerned, I say I have spastic bilateral quadriplegia. otherwise known as cerebral palsy. Limits my body, but not my mind. I think that last part's pretty cool. And to others, everybody has a disability. What's yours?
How was that for your student performance?
Can't even answer.
Thank you very much. And now Battleground has a challenge. So, moving on to the next item on the agenda, before we get there, our arts department, we have many great arts in our schools. We can see how well the performances go and how it does help even on testing for student improvements. Without the arts, school many times would be pretty boring for most kids, me. So, Ms. Lynn, you got to follow that up with a fine financial report.
Yeah, thanks. First of all, enrollment. We just got our November enrollment finished up here recently. The enrollment report came back. Interesting, I don't even know if I would call it a trend. For the first 3 months of this year, our head count for enrollment is actually less than it was the first 3 months of last year. So that has been kind of interesting. I can't see one particular area where things are standing out. Pleasant Valley Primary is currently 51 FTE above what we projected. Glenwood is up 17 above what we projected. But a lot of our other schools are either at the projected enrollment or slightly under projected enrollment. So we'll be watching enrollment very closely in the next coming months. All those houses we see coming in, but we're not seeing the kids yet, so that's been kind of interesting. Other areas that we've been working on, as you know, the Washington State University property, Kevin and crew have been working on getting that property ready to sell. The perks are done. There is a boundary line adjustment being done for the back 2 lots to make them more easily accessible and more desirable. I anticipate that we will probably be bringing something at our December board meeting possibly, as far as meeting with our realtor and looking at getting those properties on the market. You'll be seeing some work coming up this next week or so outside the cafeteria end of Battleground High School. The exterior freezer for storage is being put in. So we should be seeing work going on there. And I can't see Mr. Joel behind you. I can't think of any other hot topics that we have going on right now since the last board meeting.
Is there any questions for Ms. Lynn?
Do you have an update on the water testing? Is that all finished, or are we in good shape there?
The water testing, I believe Rita updated the website just this, we were looking at the updates today.
Yeah, it was before Thanksgiving was the last update.
Yeah. Bulk of the work has been done. Those faucets that had to be replaced, we do a second testing, and those tests will be going to are at the lab. We switched labs for our second testing for hopefully more responsiveness to our tests. So we're waiting to get those tests back.
And also update on sewer situation?
Sewer situation, Olson Engineering has been meeting with Hazeldale Sewer District or Clark County Regional Sewer District to get going on that. We should have a proposal from Olson this next board meeting to bring to you.
Thank you.
And the Amroy water problem, that was all taken care of quickly.
For the most part, we've got water running there for the gang restrooms and the staff restroom, and then they'll finish up the pipe replacement over Christmas break. It was something that would take a lot of work with kids and teachers. So primarily, we've got the restrooms running, and we'll take care of the rest of the water pipe replacements over Christmas break. Oh, and the USDA has vacated the east end of KCC. There is wiring going on for technology, and then we will look at moving technology. The bulk of technology will move over fairly soon. We do need to add an office in there for one position. So we won't have all of technology moved until that last office is built. But we're in the process of getting that whole project finished up.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next item is our teaching and learning update. Because Mr. Gloss is absent, we're going to ask Mr. Huddle to give him.
I have nothing to say.
So then we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is our communications.
Hello, I just have one really quick item, and that is I just want to let you know that our revised version of the emergency operations plan is done, and we'll be sharing that with you in the next few days. So you can look for that and you can read through that. It will be documented. It's very exciting.
That's going to be exciting.
You're so happy about it. Done.
Yes. Thank you.
Any questions for Ms. Huddle? So the next item on the agenda will be our committee reports.
First,
Sure.
BGEF, nothing to report right now, but we did have a school tour at Daybreak. Mark and I did. There's lots of stuff, good stuff going on at Daybreak. Matt is new principal over there. He's making a lot of creative changes that are very positive. Facebook page being set up as an example, monthly newsletter, electronic and paper copy, so parents have a choice of the two. The Love and Logic, they had 6 families attend that. And it kind of falls in line with a lot of PBIS stuff that's going on too. Tier 2 of PBIS they both shared the PBIS data, which is very positive. And they showed a decrease in discipline in 2000 from this year to so far this year from last. Structural coaches are working. They're very happy with that. That's pretty much it, really. Anything else? Yeah. There are 4 open classrooms there, though. So the people that are moving into Daybreak, because there may be single-level homes, could be folks downsizing and not having families that are buying these homes, but not all of them have been filled yet. So there's still some speculation on where that stands. Sorry.
I can hear you.
Okay.
That's one of those areas too, as I was talking about, going through the enrollment analysis, that the Daybreak primary enrollment did not come in as projected yet. There's all those homes.
Yeah.
And the projections did not include growth. I just rolled kids up.
Well, and they're not all filled yet either, so, I mean, there is potential for quite a bit of growth.
I don't have anything to report on. We have our school tour Wednesday.
We did make a tour of Chief on Touch. Our escorts were students, ASB students, and group called Sources of Strength, which is funded by a grant we received. I was really impressed with the kids. They did a great job. We asked questions about what they liked about the school, what they would change about the school, and we got some really good input from them. The thing they most seemed to like was that the teachers really cared. Jim? What would you add?
And it was, they done it a little bit different. Mavis and I were not on the same, they broke up into teams. So I was with like 4 students and Mavis was with 4. And we kind of started at different ends of the school. And so it was, and they let us, you know, took us into the rooms and kind of, we asked them the questions, they explained the stuff. It was really kind of neat. It was different. So Linda, you missed out.
The other cool part about it was some of the phenomenal teaching that I saw going on. Some of the things the kids are doing, and I'm sitting there going, I didn't know that until I got to college, like in a chemistry course. So the question asked was, well, where would you ever use chemistry? Where would you ever see anything to do with chemistry? They knew. Well, it's all around us. Everything is made of chemicals. Even our bodies, you know, their understanding of the importance. And I believe that was 7th grade. I didn't get that in 7th grade. So I'm really impressed with the teaching, the engagement of kids, and the Sources of Strength program. I want to hear more about that. That's pretty incredible. It's identifying kids from all different levels. I guess Sandy could probably tell more about it as mentors, more or less is what I got from.
And then we also toured Summitview Middle School. Of course, there's a small class there. I think there's 13 students in that class. And we also noticed in that 10-plex, it looks like that there's some unfilled rooms there. So right now, they're okay on the space.
Any other committee reports?
The audit committee will be meeting this Friday.
So I had a few words to say. So the next item on the agenda is our upcoming board events. We did put our WASDA annual conference in Spokane. We received our Board of Distinction Award and didn't quite make the School Board of the Year award. That went for districts of our size, they went to Pasco School District, and they should be congratulated for the work that they're doing there in Pasco for the kids in that region. Is there any other comments on that? While we're on this upcoming board events, I would like to remind the board that next board meeting we will take a vote for our leadership, who will be president and vice president for the next year. And I think in this next 2 through the period, we should consider who we want to nominate for leading this board. Possible action. Just so everybody can see, here was an award that Julie had. She was gonna see if Mark could frame it for her and hang it up in the boardroom. So,
Just got it, so we're.
so our next item on the agenda is our citizens' comments. I would like to remind everybody that we do have a 3-minute time limit that we would like to hear from you guys if we want to make sure that we respect everybody's time. And if you haven't signed up, there is a sign-up list over there. We have 2 citizens' comments, one before the general session and board business and one at the end. We do have a couple people signed up, and the first one we have is Bryn Davidson. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How about
Good.
yourself?
Just dandy, Andy.
Awesome.
It's Monday, I survived. Woohoo!
You had a good Thanksgiving and all.
I did. How about yourself?
It was very nice.
Good. Well, I'm here tonight to ask some questions and to, not expecting any answers right away, but just to share some thoughts about the levy presentation that Mary Beth did. That was very nice and that I missed. So she was kind enough to send it to me. And when I read through her PowerPoint, I came up with some questions that I think that are important to ask and answer when determining levy amounts and priorities. It is important to consider whether the financing is supporting your local goals and ideals. When reviewing the mission statement and the goals of the Battleground Public Schools, I had to ask myself, where do I find the financial support for these items, and were they truly being funded for success? I don't expect answers or responses to my questions and statements this evening. However, I would appreciate hearing your feedback when time allows. I began by looking at the information on the PowerPoint Mary Beth Lynn shared with you at an earlier meeting. Please accept my apologies if ahead of time if I ask questions I've already answered before. But I went through this, and this would be the kind of AV stuff they had when I taught, what you're seeing right now, where I shift papers in front of you. I got to the point that said, levy spending aligns with the strategic plan. That was the first question, and that's where that's where I looked up the goals in your strategic plan online. And the first one says, or the one I took says, challenging and engaging learning environments, to say that we have a lot of good goals, strategic plan, mission statement, but when it gets right down to it, unless we can say where it is and what it looks like, we really just have words on a paper. The second goal says high school graduation combined with career and college readiness support the future success of all students. One of the strategies there is a student-centered instruction is differentiated according to individual needs, talents, and interests. So, has the district intentionally gathered input from the frontline practitioners about what supports they need to make this happen? Does the district offer equitable funding and curriculum to practitioners to ensure this is happening? And I'm not reading all of my questions, just a few to kind of give you a flavor. The next strategy under that goal is to individualize career and college plans include internships, externships, and real-world learning experiences. That's my time.
That was your time.
Okay.
Do you want to finish? You want to?
I would like to
wrap up a
finish.
little bit?
Linda Peterson, I'm yielding my time to Linda Davidson.
Okay.
The third goal was after-school sport activity and opportunities at every school enhance the educational experience for students. Again, where would you find that? Who is authoring that? And what are the scaffolding instructions that are given to make sure that that's successful and it meeting the kids' needs? Goal number 4, 21st century programs. 21st century is talked about a lot, but I didn't find anywhere where it defined or showed what 21st century learning looked like, what it contained, what were the attributes to it, any of those sorts of things. Goal number 5, continuous professional improvement empowers employees to achieve excellence. So We provide professional development to support employee growth. And how does the district determine what professional development is needed and for whom? And does the district survey its employees to determine their needs? How do you know that the professional development you're giving is working? All of that we should be able to find all of these things in your budget. And if they're important, they should be there. And I won't read through the other 4 things because it's much the same. I do have a paper that I will give to you tomorrow because I found many technical errors in my writing as I produced it. So I'd like you to see a good copy. So then I went to the current levy revenue, which is one of the further on slides. And it says that the current levy funds provide 23% of the district's budget. It was a 4-year levy, and during that time you were allowed to collect 28%, which means 5% levy funds for 4 years, for each of 4 years, stayed out of your budget for whatever reason. And I know that you can't always run the levy you'd like because you have to run the levy that the community is going to support. But if these are your goals and missions and you've communicated them to the community and they're in full support of those, that gives you the justification you need in order to sell the levy to the community.
So I'm going to pause your time just for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I recall correctly, that slide that said it was 23% was in the current year. It wasn't in the first year that we collected the levy funds. So you did state it correctly, it was a 4-year levy.
Right.
But it wasn't 23% the first year.
What was it?
We projected out with the projection to try to capture the 28% at that time that we passed the levy formula.
Okay.
Because of the increase in assessed value of our properties in this area and the dollars that the state had kicked back through the budget, it reduced that down to 23%. But we were trying to project it at that time.
Okay. Yes, I agree.
I'll resume your time now.
Thank you. Levies are very complex. So I know you run for a set amount of money and the price per thousand goes up or down depending on the value of the participants in the program. I get that part. But you're still leaving money on the table. And I think it's important to note that. But I will do further research to figure that out. And then I went to the state funded versus actual, where Mary Beth listed several different positions of folks that you have, the funded FTE and the actual FTE. My question is, the nurses, psychologists, counselors, teacher, librarians, some of those you might get federal funding for. So is this over and above all of the funding that contributes to them?
Down below, it does not include ALE, CTE, special ed, or any grant
Okay,
funded.
so special ed would help cover some of those costs. And I went through and figured out the difference, and actually in districts your size, in the 19 districts in your size code, you rate 17th out of 19th for counselors. Having the second to the bottom amount of counselor to student ratio, and 13 out of 19 for teacher librarians. I would venture to guess that the nurses, the psychologists, the counselors, teacher librarians, and all other certs, which I really couldn't figure out, those are the folks that accomplish your goals and mission statement. Those are the people in your school district that help that young lady who is so brilliant here today realize her full potential and talent. And then the contractual obligations, somehow the administrator's salary and the unfunded administrative support salary got down to, instead of under contractual obligations, where they talked about salaries, they got into the next paper where it talks about other things. So actually your contractual obligations are 29.8 million and your other obligations would be 6.8 if you counted those in there. So I'm almost done.
How much time do you have?
Probably a couple minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
Try to speed it up.
If the levy cliff does happen and the ghost funding does happen, you're still going to be, at this year's collection rate, 1% lower than the maximum would be if they take it down to 24% like they said they would in 2018. So you could still realize an increase in your levy and remain within that 24%, which is 1 point ahead. So my question then, after assimilating all that information, is how can the mission of the Battleground Public Schools of empowering all students to reach their highest potential through innovative, creative, and supportive learning environments be accomplished when the district continues to fall behind financially? Not a newsflash to you, I'm sure. How can the staff and students be expected to fulfill the Battleground Public School goals of creating challenging and engaging learning environments that support 21st century learning for all Battleground students? Ensure that all students reach high school graduation that includes and combines career and college readiness and supports the future success of students? Lead after-school sport and activity opportunities at every school to enhance the student's educational experience? Deliver 21st century programs reflective of individual interests and the needs of the global economy? Maintain continuous professional improvement that empowers staff to achieve excellence? Be part of the culture that supports and promotes the physical, emotional, and social well-being of students and staff? Provide safe and secure facilities that provide for the future capacity and needs of the Battleground Public Schools? And to create and maintain interactive and consistent communication connecting students, parents, and community to the Battleground Public Schools? A district that has identified its mission and goals must put forward its financial plans to achieve those goals. The district must give the proper staffing, tools, and supplies to achieve those goals. They must set their staff and students up for success. If the district is unwilling to provide what's necessary to achieve the goals and missions it has set forth, then it must reconsider what it's capable of doing within the constraints that it works under. The district has, at times, through no fault of their own, asked staff and students to make up for the shortfalls in planning, community outreach, and financial support to achieve goals that were beyond the structure of support staff and students were provided. What you have seen in the recent past is a workforce that can no longer solely bear the burden of these unfunded requests, missions, and goals. If the district wishes to continue down a path of greatness as it professes, it can no longer do it on the backs of employees. As the leaders of the district, you, the school board, must do your due diligence and run a levy that matches your mission and goals and that honors your employees. And I very much thank you for your time.
Currently, that's all that we have signed up on our citizens' comment section. So we'll move on to the consent agenda. The business operations report, the contract ratification, the personnel report, the student travel requests.
That's consent agenda.
So Ms. Nichols has made a motion to approve the consent agenda. Is there any comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. The next item on the agenda is our covenant and easements to the city of Battleground at the Enbridge campus. Mr. Bowman. Mr. Bowman.
So what you have in front of you are standard covenants and easements that go to the city of Battleground, projects that are inside the city of Battleground. It covers all the utilities, the water, the electric, the sanitary, sewer. And what it does is it allows access by the city or the PUD to go in and repair lines. That's what these easements are for. These came up on when we did our 10-plex this summer at Chief, and when we went to finish up our final occupancy on that. Turns out we had some of these that did not occur during the construction of the new school. So if you read a lot of the legalese, it's from 6 years past. What happens is they give us the covenants, we write up the legal easements, and we send it back to the city, they approve it, and then they send it back. Somewhere along that route, they didn't send it back, and we didn't record it. So some of these are for the overall construction of the T-Fetch School 6 years ago, is why you see some of the dates on the legal easements, legal descriptions of the land.
Any questions for Mr. Bowman?
Well, I would maybe ask, what happens if we don't approve? What's the consequences? It's before us to approve, but it's just a thought here.
Can't answer that. Not an attorney. We've had our attorneys review them all in the past, and it's standard practice.
It's all been reviewed by the attorney, and it just didn't have the final step of making a motion to passing it, or
So the papers never got back to us from the city back when we did occupancy. So we would have done this 6 years ago at the end of the construction of that. So they're requiring them now to get our occupancy on our campus.
do you need a motion to approve this before?
Yes. Yes.
Was it not brought before the board in 2013?
Correct.
What was it? That stuff. I thought maybe it was approved and then it just went to the city.
Nope.
Did we not realize before we took occupancy back then that this should have been done by the board back then?
Well, the biggest thing, I should step in here, is the only reason that we grant the easement is because the utility companies require it. So we really don't care if they have an easement on our property to maintain their stuff. But they need that so they can gain access and whatnot. So it's not something that Mr. Dolman would generally follow through to make sure that we done. It would be those other utility departments that should make sure that they have their paperwork in order to take care of their facilities, or their facilities. So if this motion is made and approved, then we grant them the rights to be able to have these recorded easements.
That they're already doing anyway.
Which they need, but it's just kind of odd that they let it go this long.
Did I state it correctly?
You stated it perfectly. Some paper got lost in the shuffle a few years back. And they noticed it and they wanted to give us occupancy on the campus to those workers' place. And they don't affect us, and we don't need it for occupancy, they need it for repairs.
I'll make a motion that we approve the covenant and easement to the city of Battleground at Chief Hometown campus.
So Ms. McClintock has made a motion. Is there any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Thank you. Citizens' comments. Ms. Helen, would you like to see if anybody else signed up?
There's no one on that list.
So there's nobody on the list, so I'll ask if there's anybody that would wish to address the board at this time. Now is your time to shine. Hearing none, we'll close the citizens' comment section. And we're going to move, after we sign papers, and the board hasn't had dinner yet, so we do have a little bit of food next door for the board, and we're going to do our work study on levy discussion and board evaluation in the room next door. You're welcome to come next door if you'd like, or enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you.
This will take our meeting then.